Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to share with you the Chinese story in celebration of Chinese New Year that has happened recently, or Lunar New Year. This year is the Chinese New Year of the Dragon, and this story was told live on my Facebook page last Friday. Telling stories live is something that I do every week, so please come and join me. In 2006 I lived and I worked in China as an English teacher. So I taught English during the day, and then I made it my mission to learn Chinese in the morning. I had a local teacher who came to my house in the morning, and I learned Chinese with her, Mandarin Chinese. I was in Beijing, and Beijing is great because it has a really good standard Mandarin Chinese accent. And then when I returned to the UK, I did an exam called the HSK exam, which is the only internationally recognised qualification of Chinese. So it's called the Hanyu Shui Ping Kaoshi, and that's the HSK exam. And I did that at the university in London, SOAS. So my Chinese now is a little bit rusty, but I do speak enough to teach basic Chinese. So anyway, enough of me talking about that. Let's get on with the story. So I introduce you now to my story of the traditional Zodiac. Lovely. So the story we're going to have today is all about Chinese New Year. It is the traditional Zodiac story, and the story behind all the animals and the years being named after the animals. So Chinese New Year is a huge celebration, not just in China, in many, many countries. In fact, it's probably celebrated in all countries because there are Chinese people and there are people who celebrate Chinese New Year living everywhere all over the world. So it's a really good festival to know about. And if you want to wish somebody Happy New Year in Chinese, in Mandarin Chinese, you would say 新年快乐. 新年 New Year. 新年快乐. 快乐 is to wish somebody celebration or congratulations. So 新年快乐. There are many people in Korea that also celebrate Chinese New Year. It's called the Lunar New Year more generally, and they would say 새해 복 많이 받으세요. I'm quite proud of myself for remembering that one. Okay, right, let's jump straight in then and think about the Chinese story. So a long, long time ago in China, 2,000 years ago, maybe even more than that actually, there was an emperor. Here he is. Here's our emperor. And we know he's the emperor because he's got the character, the symbol on there for king, Wang. Wang, to show that he is in charge, he is the king. Okay, so there he is. And this king, he was quite a clever king. He knew that they had no way in China of measuring time. So there was no calendar or anything back then, thousands and thousands of years ago. So he wanted to invent a way that we could measure time. Okay, so there he is, the Emperor of China. He was called the Jade Emperor. Jade is kind of like a greeny colour, traditional colour. This story is a legend, a myth. So if you know anything about myths, you can tell me in the chat. And it's all to do with animals. So if you want to predict which animals we might have in this story, then have a go and write them in the chat. I've not had anyone say hello yet. So on the Jade Emperor's birthday, he decided that he was going to invent a way to measure time. So he gathered all the animals together and he said to them, right, we're going to have a massive race, a really big race. And whoever wins the race or finishes the race, they are going to have a name, a year of the Zodiac calendar named after them. So all of the animals got together and they set off to cross the river. So what I wanted to have was a lovely picture of the river behind me, but it didn't quite work out. So the animals had to cross the river, so from one bank of the river to the other bank of the river, and they could get across that river in any way that they could. So they could swim or they could float or however. So the cat and the rat, they were very, very good friends. Now that's very different to how they are nowadays. So here's the cat.
And the cat was very, very good friends with the rat. Now, I don't really have a rat, so we're going to have this little guy. So they were best friends. They really liked each other. And they actually felt a little bit nervous about crossing the river because they're quite small animals and they're not very good swimmers. So they approached the ox. Here's the ox. And they said, "Hey, Mr. Ox, can you help us cross the river? Because we're not very good at swimming." And the ox said, "Well, yes, I can," because the ox was very kind. And he said, "Jump on my back." So the rat and the cat jumped on the ox's back, and he swam across the river, and the rat and the cat were all safe and dry on top. When they were kind of nearing the other side, the cheeky rat pushed the cat into the water, into the river, and the cat was spluttering and not able to swim very well, and the cheeky rat jumped off the ox's back and came in first place. So the first year of the Chinese zodiac is named after the rat. It's the first one. And then the ox came in second place. Soon after, the tiger, here's the tiger. This is one of those like squishmallow things. And the tiger, and he also has, look, he's got the symbol king on his head as well here. He came in third place. He was exhausted, really, really struggled because he wasn't a very good swimmer and there was lots of currents in the river. So he came in third place. And the next one, what animal do you think might come in next? Let's see if anyone's talking to me in the chat. Aha, hi Neve, nice to see you. Toby likes Chinese food? Awesome. I do too. What's your favourite? And do you think you might... Neve thinks she might be born in the year of the... Oh, it's just gone. Was it sheep? Maybe it was sheep. Okay, so the fourth animal was the... What's this one then? Can you see this little guy? This is the rabbit. Okay, so the rabbit... This rabbit... He couldn't swim, because rabbits can't swim very well, but it was very clever. So the rabbit hopped from branch floating down the river to kind of like all the different pieces of flotsam floating in the water, and then jumped off. And the Jade Emperor said, "Oh, I'm very pleased. I'm going to name the fourth year of the zodiac after you." Okay, who's going to be next? Next was the dragon. I don't have a very good dragon, but here's the dragon. The kind dragon swooped down and came in fifth place. And the emperor said, "Why didn't you win the race?" You would have expected, and I would have expected, the dragon to win the race because he can just fly across. So he said, "Why didn't you just fly across?" And the dragon was very, very kind, and he stopped and he slowed down to blow some hot air onto the rabbit's log so the rabbit could get ahead of him. So next, the Jade Emperor could hear the trot of horses' feet. And here comes the horse. But before the horse could get to the other side, the cheeky snake had slipped around the legs of the horse, and the snake had come in sixth place, and the horse had come in seventh place. Soon after, a raft arrived, and on the raft there were three animals. There was a sheep. Sometimes in this story it's mentioned that it's a goat. I've got a sheep here, and in Chinese you say a yang is a sheep. Yeah, a yang. So the sheep was on there, and also the monkey, Holzer, was also on there, and also the rooster or the chicken was also on that raft. So we had these four. Can you? They're falling all over. But these three arrived on the raft. So the sheep was number 8, the monkey was number 9, and the rooster was number 10. Okay, and then number 11, the dog arrived in 11th place. And the Jade Emperor was a little bit confused by this, why the dog was in 11th place and hadn't swum across, because we know dogs can swim really, really well. So he was a little bit confused about that. But the dog said he stopped off to have a little play and have a little wash. So he was a bit slower with playing in the water. So he arrived in 11th place. Okay, and then there was 1 place left. Can you guess which animal came in? Let's have a little look. Any comments? Who thinks they know which animal came in the final place? Let's have a little look. It was the pig. It wasn't Peppa Pig, but it was a pig. A pig came in 12th place. The final place was given to the pig. Sometimes in the story you see this mentioned as the boar, but it's easier for a pig, I think. The pig came in 12th place. So what happened to the poor cat then? Well, the cat was very, very grumpy and very angry when the cat arrived, because the cat was too late to have a year of the zodiac named after it. And the cat was very, very grumpy with the rat, because it was the rat that pushed the cat into the water. So from that day on, cat and rat have always been enemies. So that's the story of why the cat doesn't like the rat and the rat doesn't like the cat. It comes from the Chinese zodiac calendar. And that is the beginning of how they measured time and how they made calendars. I hope you like that story. It's a good one, isn't it? It's a good one. So this time of year is the time of year of Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year, and the actual day of celebration is tomorrow. So you can have a practice of saying 新年快乐, 新年快乐. Let me hear you say it. 新年快乐. That means Happy New Year in Mandarin Chinese. Thank you for listening, guys. And if I could get the answer of how to use my green screen with Facebook Live, that would be amazing. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye.